EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchich here with your outlook for October 7th, 2020. For your Wednesdays, partly cloudy skies to start today. It's going to be very warm, and that's because we're going to be ahead of a cold front that's expected to move through this evening. And this system is going to be off to our north. The parent system is up here well to our north, but the attendant cold front is down here like this. And that will be coming through our area again this evening, but ahead of it we'll have this warm southwesterly winds that'll give us a very warm afternoon, well into the 70s for our entire region. Once this moves through, it's just a quick line of showers, and it might not hit everywhere. It's just a stray shower the further south you go, more isolated to widely scattered farther north. And they'll just go, the threat of that will go right into the early evening until the front passes, and after that we have a trough settle in for a couple days, which will be both Thursday and Friday. More so Thursday, though. Thursday looks like it's going to be the cooler of the 2 days, and temperatures that are going to be generally on either side of the middle 60s, maybe getting in the upper 60s in some areas by the time we get to Friday. But both days, Thursday and Friday, are mostly sunny. If you look off to your southwest here, we have Hurricane Delta that is sitting down here that is going to be making landfall somewhere along the northern Gulf Coast. The trend today has been to push this further west like it has yesterday. So the original landfall point that was projected was somewhere over here, far eastern Louisiana. It keeps pushing it further and further west. Some models actually have it near the Louisiana-Texas border, but others are getting it like the GFS here showing the south central Louisiana coast. So this is kind of the same areas that got hit by Hurricane Laura, and I want to say that was, I know it was the end of August, I believe it was the 26th or 27th that made landfall in these same areas as a very strong Category 4 hurricane. So they could be looking at another major hurricane making landfall here, and that is the official National Hurricane Center projection currently. It is a 130 mile per hour storm, and it was up to 140. Now it looks like it's going through an eyewall replacement cycle. We'll get into that in a second. Here is the NAM high-res future simulator radar starting off at noon today, just to show you where those showers are occurring. Again, these are generally light and quick moving. Just a few spots, not all. We'll get into a quick shower, and that threat of which will go right into the evening until that front passes, and that's it for the showers. But the bigger story, I think, is going to be the wind gusts today. We're going to have a little breezy conditions, and if you break down our areas kind of like this, I'd say areas south of that line there are looking at gusts that are generally 25 to 30 miles per hour. Once you get up to about here, in between here, that's the area right in here, you're looking at gusts that will be in the 35 to 40 mile per hour range, and some gusts over 40 up here. So this is going to be generally this afternoon and early evening when we have the strongest winds move through. And I'll move this forward here. Here's early afternoon. You can see that right there. I see a lot of these numbers that are on here are peak wind gusts, and are seeing a lot of 35s, 36. Some higher elevations getting up close to 40 or into the low 40s. And again, that goes right into mid to late afternoon. And once we get into late afternoon here, this is 5 p.m., you can see some 40s over a widespread area over the northeast, northern parts of a region, or central and northeast PA, whereas further south, you're generally in the 30s for those top gusts. And again, that's going to go into early evening, and then it kind of dies off overnight, and the winds will abate quite a bit overnight, but it's still going to be a little bit breezy overnight. It's not just going to go away completely. Now, getting to the hurricane, this is, of course, Hurricane Delta. It is still, even though it went down from 140 to 130, it is still a Category 4 hurricane, a minimal Category 4 hurricane, if you will, but still Category 4 nevertheless. The reason for that is you have a very tiny eye here. It's only about 4 or 5 miles across, and you have an eyewall replacement cycle going on where you have an outer concentric ring, and you can't really see it. I'm trying to get a different image here. No, you can't see it here either. But just to stop here, you have a very small eye here in the middle, and there's another ring, a concentric ring, trying to form around the outside that's bigger. That's going to eventually choke off this inner one and take over as the primary. This happens a lot with these systems. It's part of its maturing process and trying to get stronger, and it realizes that it's almost like it's self-aware, and it realizes, oh, it can't get any stronger, so it has to do something in order to keep maintaining or growing. So it's trying to do that eyewall replacement cycle so it can maintain and get even stronger, or try to at least. But this is heading in the general vicinity of Cozumel or Cancun on the eastern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. And there's a lot of resorts in this area here that could be affected by this, including the one where I got married right here in in Riviera Maya. So I got married right on the beach here so several years ago. But so there's some really nice resorts up and down the Yucatan Peninsula here that would be affected there mostly. And this is an area that relies very heavily on tourism. So that could be pretty bad for these areas up in this region here as it crosses over somewhere in the vicinity of the northeast Yucatan Peninsula. So here's the GFS projection. This is where it is right now when I'm doing this video. And it's, again, heading in this general direction. And it does have this system making landfall on the pretty much near Cancun is where it's taking it. And then it reemerges over the Gulf eventually and re-strengthens. It is going to lose a little bit as it comes off, lose intensity a little bit as it comes across the Yucatan and over land. And then once it re-emerges, the expectation is going to go further west and re-intensify. With these eye-wall replacement cycles, these things get larger typically. So it's not going to be such a compact system like it is now. It should start expanding once we get into the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where you might see your classic eye that you see on typically on a hurricane. Once it gets out in this region here, you might see a satellite image where it's not clouded over and it's larger and it has a nice stadium effect eye, very classic imagery in the Gulf of Mexico. And then it weakens slightly as it heads just before it hits land here, because you have a little bit of upwelling going on and some shallower water, cooler water right before land, and then it makes landfall somewhere either from central Louisiana all the way over to the Texas-Louisiana border, somewhere in that same vicinity, similar area to where Laura hit the end of August. And then this is important because when we go from this point here, we want to know what the remnants are going to be like and what is going to affect our area locally. Looks like a mostly sunny day here Saturday as well, so we have one more nice day. Turns a little bit warmer here locally. And then these remnants, yesterday was very slam dunk that it was going to go up northwest of us. Now today everything's kind of going back south again. So it was originally south, went north, now south again. It's trying to take a track like this now. But you still have on the GFS some showers coming into our region here, either late Sunday or Sunday night, and then continuing into Monday. All right, and then back to partly cloudy skies here on Tuesday. On the GFS. The European model doesn't get hit here at all. It also takes a southern track here, but on the European, this high puts up a roadblock here. You have a big high pressure sitting here, putting up a roadblock, very strong high, not allowing any of this precipitation to come in here. So it keeps everything southwest of the region. So this is not a slam dunk that we get any remnants at all from this. So this is going to be something we just have to continue to monitor each day. This has been changing. If you watched yesterday's videos, it looked completely different. And it looked like a slam dunk that we were going to get some rain and had some tracks kind of going up like this or over the region. And now they're kind of like going, oh, right here, and then, oops, there's a big high here. Can't go anywhere. So there are a couple different solutions here. This is something we're going to have to iron out in the week ahead, but just continue to follow along throughout the rest of the week, and we'll see if we can narrow this down. Hopefully by the end of the week we have a better idea at that point, because we're only going to be a couple days out, and this would have already made landfall on Friday. So we should have an idea by that time with the timing of everything, whether or not we'll get remnant showers, how much. I don't think it's a wind issue once it gets up to this region regardless. For gusty winds, I don't think it's going to be an issue because it has so much land to go over to weaken by the time it gets up to this point anyway. It will be post-tropical depression or post-tropical low at this point, and we're not looking at anything but just rain. It's just a matter of how much or if we get it at all, and we'll narrow that down in the week ahead. I'm EPA meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That is your outlook for October 7th, 2020. Have a great Wednesday.